Come up so everybody can see you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see a birth certificate. Red shirt.
Yeah, look at
All right, we are now officially in the fourth quarter. This is it. As a player on the varsity level of Dover football, and I know a lot of people can say the same thing I'm about to say, there was never, I'm talking never, a time when we went into the fourth quarter where we didn't have a chance to win a game. You guys know what I'm talking about. We've never were down by much, if we were ever down, and we, most of the time we were winning. But we were always, in the fourth quarter, there was a chance for us to win, always. From 10th grade all the way up, there was never an opportunity where we were blown out. It just didn't happen. Coach Tardivi, he put us in a position to win. And I've taken that motto and I've brought that in many aspects of my life. Put yourself in a position to win. Doesn't mean that you're always going to win, because we didn't win all the time, but we were in the position to win, and that's important in life. We have a quick picture. This is a picture from 1985, before the state playoff games against Hillside. There you see Tardivi. You know, we see Coach Tardivi here, a mild-mannered, smiling guy, this and that. This is how I remember Coach Tardivi. Grimace in the face, black hair, thick, husky guy. And you see that guy up there, that guy is standing up, it's just a little higher than everybody else? That's me right there. And that's the only picture that I have of me and Coach Tardivi in anything. And you remember the press was there, taking pictures, and he's looking at, giving me the eye, this and that, because that's just how, that's how it was, all right? It was an aggressive thing, all right. He was aggressive. Coach Tardivi was like a pit bull at times. I'm gonna keep it real. I have things for each coach that remind me of. The last thing we did was I had the boxer shorts for Bodner that represented the freedom and the looseness of everything. For Coach Tardivi, I will present a thong. Now, a thong is a male thong. It's tight. I don't experience this, but I've talked to different people that have worn it. It's tight in the area in the front. Tight. There's no room for anything. It's tight. This and that. And then the back is basically an object that basically that's in. I only use the word. It's in the. I use what kids say. I'm a teacher. The kids, they say ass. They say what's in the Bible? Like Samson, jawbone and ass. This is in the ass part. All right. Tardivi was in my ass a lot. As a matter of fact, his second address was my ass. All right? So if he got mail, if he didn't get it where he lived, they sent it to me, because that's where he was at. I was in my, If somebody was shooting at Coach Tardivi, Now I would be not the first, I would be the second. I would have been like the ninth guy to take a bullet for him. Like after everybody, I would have went up there and I would have said, and after everybody, I would have took the bullet, you know, if I was the ninth guy. Coach taught me the importance of teamwork. Everybody do what they have to do, whether it be in a business, a relationship, no matter what it is, do what you have to do. I was a defensive end, and you guys know when they ran the option, what was the responsibility of the defensive end?
Blow up the quarterback.
Blow up the quarterback. If that guy does not blow up the quarterback, what happens on that play? The whole thing is messed up. So, as a defensive end, you must hit the quarterback on the option. If you do not, it will break down the whole structure of the play, and you're victimizing your team. You can put your team in jeopardy for not doing your job. Coach Tardivi taught me responsibility. Responsibility of being a young man and doing what you're supposed to do. When you do what you're supposed to do and put yourself in the position to win, you may not win all the time, because we had some losses. And in life, you're going to get some wins and you're going to get some losses. But I knew that we were in the position, our coaches prepared us, we prepared ourselves in every game we were in to the last minute or two. So I want to thank Coach for that. Coach Tardivi put a fire under me that was needed. Now, sometimes people will think of the word fair, and they'll say, this isn't fair, this guy, this guy. When I played college ball, you had a bench press, all right? And you had to bench press 225 as many times as you could, all right? Now, depending on what position you played, that was your criteria. So if you were a wide receiver, you might have had to bench it, 5 times, whatever it was. You were a kicker maybe once, if that. I'm a lineman, you had to bench it like 75 times or something, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, that's not, that ain't, whatever it was, 40 times. So I'm like, well, I'm going up there, I was like, well, this is crazy, this isn't fair. Now, it was also fair that I was 320 pounds and the wide receivers were 120 pounds. So what happened when I learned about Coach Tardivi, not everything was fair in my eyes, but what fairly really means is what you need. And at that time, a 17-year-old kid, a 16-year-old kid, I needed a thong. And we all have thongs in our lives, whether it be our coworkers, our bosses, whoever people we live with. We have that person that has to be in your stuff to keep you in line and make sure that you do the right things. And because this man did that to me, and my perception of it, it made me such a better person. I'm such a more adamant. Everything I do is if I can't do it on the top level, I'm not doing it. It can't be half-assed. I don't believe in that. And that stuff, that started with me when I was 16 years old. And I want to thank Coach Tardivi for that. One of the things that he left that I always remember is Tardivi always said, are you out working the guy that's on the other side of the ball? And that's what I do in everything. I heard somebody did a little reunion and they got like 13 guys, you know what I'm saying? I said, if I do it, I'm going to set the bar high, I'm going to get 100 guys, or I'm going to get this. Whatever I do, I'm going to outwork the other guy. And I learned that from 16 years old from Coach Tardivi. And I just want to thank him for that. We're going to have a small video that we're going to watch right now.
Tardivi. When I was talking about the freshman year when I quit, Coach Tardivi actually sent players to my house. He talked to me himself, he told me not to quit, stay at it. And he also taught me hard work, never give up. And I just like to thank him for that. He gave me what I didn't have, it was a big family.
The first time I met Coach Tardivi, I was in clinic football, 7 years old. We were at the Banquet, and for about 4 or 5 years, I always known Coach Tardivi to be that man who comes to the Banquet and talks forever and ever and ever. And didn't realize until I got older what he was talking about. Basically, what he was talking about molded me to be the person that I am, the athlete that I became. I was always little, still am little, but my heart salute to Coach Tardee and Coach Rettas. My heart was bigger than me. Thank you all of those boys that didn't care. I was 150 pounds my senior year. And Coach David and Coach Tardee gave me the privilege of carrying the ball for both as a starter. And I'll never forget that. Thank you, Coach Tardee.
Coach Tardee to me was probably the single most influential father figure that 90% of us as players ever had. Whether we had fathers or we didn't, or if our fathers lived with us or they didn't, or if our fathers had jobs to where they weren't around, Coach Tardee was our second father. He was our father, he was our guidance counselor, he was our coach. He played many roles, and he played them all very well. I was told by Coach It one time, well after I got out of high school, that the entire time that Coach Tardee was a head coach at Dover, he never slept in a bed. He slept on a recliner with a cordless phone next to him so he could answer the phone and get us out of trouble when we got into trouble. And we got into trouble often. Coach Tardee was the type of person, he dealt with each of his players a little differently. Some of them he patted on the back, some of them he kicked in the ass. I was one of those players that I got the tough love version of Coach Tardee, and I wasn't able to appreciate it until I was in my middle 20s, and all of a sudden the light bulb went on and I figured out what reason he had for doing what he did.
One of the guys that I most admire as I'm coaching now, my 17th year with the youth program. Really thankful that, still in contact with him and he comes around and gives some advice. Going through my high school experience, just trying to learn some different things as I was going through, starting to made you believe into what you had to be to become a champion or, somewhat ready for that challenge every week that we came across some of these teams that we're doing. Our teams that we faced those years again. We were Group 2 schools or a lot of Group 4 schools. We were scrimmaging back then, Del Martin, and going against some real tough teams in West Essex, Hanover Park, and West Morris. Definitely some teams that were really tough at that time. We expect nothing less of us. They really wanted us to come out and perform, and we did. We had great teams then, and that's because of his coaching and his philosophies and what just making us a better team all the time. And again, we really appreciate everything he's done. Hopefully he can still keep giving us that advice as a game.
All right, I'd like to bring up first speaker, the only two-time MVP that got it twice unanimously and only himself, Bruce Ryans.
Thank you, Ronnie. When Ronnie called me, he said, Bruce, we're having this banquet. You want to speak? Before he could finish, he said, oh, Coach Tardee. I said, no problem. You don't have to say no more. I just want to tell a couple of stories about what you meant to us, Coach, and why. I can think back maybe my sophomore year, and I don't think you were in the best of health. And I think we had to go up to West Morris. It was a freezing cold game in the rain. We didn't think we were going to make it, and we were terrified. There's no way we can win without Coach. When we got to that field, you were ill, you were sick, but you never gave up on us. You didn't turn your back, and you were there for us. And we could see you weren't feeling well. You stood there in that freezing rain in that game. And that day told me, he said, never quit on this guy, because he'll never quit on us. The fact that when we were in youth football, you reached out to us then, You didn't ignore us because we weren't in high school. You came down and you let us know, listen, you guys are part of what we're doing here, and I got my eye on you even when you're young, and I'm going to bring you along. And from the day one, you know, when you came down to the youth program, which was basically coached by you, because as you've seen Steve Gorard speak before, Steve Gorard was my running back coach in youth, which is teaching me the same football that you taught him, that I eventually got to learn from playing for you. So it all goes full circle. Coach, I'm going to take, instead of speaking on you, I want to talk to you, and I want to thank you for what you've done to me. The type of man you made me, the integrity that you taught me, honor, discipline. Pick the guy up next to you, don't let him be down. Give it all you got, no fear. And, you know, the sky's the limit. Getting kind of emotional because I just want you to know how much you meant to me and everything you've done to me. I'm going to get off this microphone now to all the other assistant coaches, thank you. But Coach, you were that father figure to a lot of us that didn't have fathers. You know, I think it was somebody mentioned earlier about the voices in your head with Coach Bodman. To this day, it's come time to make a decision, and I can hear your voice. Bruce, what the hell are you doing? Or that stare you used to give me, and just shake your head at me. I want to thank you for keeping me out of jail in high school. But it was the stare, you know, mainly off the field that gave you the trouble, you know. I live by your theory, taking it on to another level, outwork the coach's whistle. If you don't ever let that whistle be blown at you in practice, you'll find yourself in a good position on whatever team you're playing for. I pass it on to my kids. Coached for a couple years in youth when my kids were in youth, and I pass it on to them. And it's funny because I'm talking to them and I feel like I'm you. Because if I have to blow this whistle at you, it's going to be a problem, you know? But I learned that from you, and I passed it on to my sons, to the youth that I coached. And as you can see in this room, Coach, your impact. All your sons, all your kids, they come back home to see you, to show you how much you meant to us. And thank you, Coach. I love you, man.
All right, some powerful stuff right there. The next person I'm calling up is the only Dover quarterback to play in back-to-back state championship games. He's the all-time winningest quarterback in Dover football history. Ladies and gentlemen, Roy Moss.
It's been a long day. I want to first acknowledge a couple of other guys. I want to acknowledge Coach Spillman. Because he started out as Mr. Spillman. He was my teacher in middle school. And I was known for losing focus every now and then, and he'd make sure he'd fire a piece of chalk at you to get you back in focus. The other guy is Coach Conley. And talking about underrated, Coach Conley, I'm telling you, you meant a lot to me, Coach. You live down the street from me. I'm gonna tell you something about Coach Roger Kiner. He was also Mr. Kiner first, too, in middle school. And if you didn't want to know what his opinion was of anything, don't ask him. Because he's gonna tell you straight. And I appreciate that, Coach. A lot of times I ended up walking down to your house. I was in Victory Gardens. You was down on South Salem Street. I would walk down, and if I needed some advice or just wanted to talk or whatever, you were there to listen. I appreciate it, Coach, really. Coach Bodner. Coach Bodner was my guidance counselor in middle school, and Mr. Bodner at the time. And I got a pretty bad beating from my dad one day. And I went to school, and I lied about, what happened to me. I was bruised up pretty good, had a pretty bad wound on my leg. And I got sent to the nurse, and the nurse called Mr. Bodner, and Mr. Bodner talked to me, and he knew everything I was telling him was a lie. And I did not fall off the porch. And that's the truth. And he said to me, he said to me, looking right in my eyes, he said, he didn't call me out and say, maybe your dad or anything like that. He just said to me he was gonna make sure that porch never hurt me no more. And Coach, I love you for that. And Coach Thomas, yeah, that's the one I was looking for. That's a good one right there. Coach, yeah, the team you had before you allowed me to be your starting quarterback was 4-4-1. And you definitely could have took the easy way out, and you had a senior and a couple seniors and juniors that were vying for the job, and you gave it to me. And I, repaid you by going out and immediately losing our first 2 games. But you never gave up on me, you never gave up on us, Coach, and we ripped off the rest of the way, and we didn't lose again until we got to the state finals, and even then I still think there was some shenanigans with that field being so muddy. So I got one. I should have got 2 of that one. But Coach, I really want to tell you, there's some things that you probably don't remember, but you talk about a father figure. A lot of my friends usually had mom at home, and dad was absent. And Coach, you filled that void. Well, my parents split up my freshman year, and my mom went south, and I stayed with my dad because I didn't want to leave Dover. And so Dad was there, but it's like he wasn't, and thank God for you. So I will tell you guys another quick story. My first start was against West Essex, and I'm starting to get choked up a little bit. And Coach let me toss the ball around the first half a little bit, and I did all right. And I missed a touchdown pass to Mike Antoine. And we came off the field at the half, and it was the first game my dad ever, came to. And he tore into me as we were walking to the locker room, tore into me, just embarrassing me on the walk. And Coach grabbed me. He saw it and didn't say anything. He let my dad lay into me. Then he grabbed me and he said, listen, you gotta stay focused. Don't worry about any of that. You're my guy and I'm still riding with you. And Coach, I'm telling you, man, you have no idea how much you mean to me. You have no idea, because I went through some things immediately following high school. Times were really down, and you always instilled in us about not quitting. The one thing about Coach Tardivi is you had to win and lose the right way. Okay, so if you didn't give full effort and we still ended up winning the game because we were better than the other team, he would let you know that, that's not enough. We won the game, but it wasn't enough. And, the best game I ever played in was a loss my senior year against West Morris. And, we lost. We were down the goal line. We went for 2. Coach could have kicked the field goal to tie the game up, and he wanted to go for 2. He put the game in my hand, and I didn't come through for him. But in that locker room, if you were in that locker room listening to Coach talk to us after that loss, you would not have been able to tell if we won or lost the game if you just listened to him talk. And we were losers that day. But it was the way that we lost, because we left everything on the field, and that's all he wanted from us every time. See, our games were not won on Friday nights or Saturday afternoons. Our games were won Monday through Thursday. That's when we won those games. He made sure of that. And you were the dad, even though my father was there, but really wasn't. That was it, Coach. And I never wanted to let my other dad down. And I swear to you, when times were bad for me immediately following high school, if it wasn't for you initiating in me, don't quit, don't stop, keep pushing. I might have been a statistic like, a lot of other people that, may not have the privilege to be in your presence, but because that no quit attitude that you had, I was able to come on the other side of that. And, I bought a house with my wife a few years ago, and, 18 months after high school, I had no place to stay at all, and I never quit. And it's because you always said, do not quit. Don't quit. If we're going to lose, we're going to go down in flames, so we're going to fight to the last whistle. And that's what I did. My wife, my teammate, now my new teammate, my wife, she rode with me all the way through. And it's because of you, Coach. And I want to take this time, too, real quick, to say thank you to Jesse Williams. And Jesse, the reason why I'm calling you out individually is because, bro, I haven't had the opportunity to tell you thank you, but like I said, when I was doing really bad, I didn't have any place to stay. Jesse had a little room on Richards Avenue, just enough for a bed and maybe a little, single-man refrigerator, and Jesse let me stay on that floor until I was able to get my life back together. Jay, you have no idea how much I appreciated that floor, bro, and I love you to death for that. And it's all because of you, Coach. Jesse gave me that floor because you said, Jesse, give him that floor, without actually saying that. It's just the way that you taught us. And my wife stayed with me. And it's all because of team. It's all because of team. You can't do anything alone. And I know a couple of times I showboated and you had to snatch me by the face mask and you're supposed to be the leader, Moss, you're the quarterback of the team, you're the leader. You gotta set an example. All our teams had good attitudes, win or loss. And what I know is, and what I learned, I also played a little high school football in North Carolina for another legendary coach, and it was all about winning with him. He had to win because that's what he was known for. Coach, it wasn't all about winning. It was about winning the right way or losing with dignity, you know, and giving it up like that. And that's what separates you from other men. I've had that honor and privilege, you know, to play for you and play for other coaches, and just doesn't compare. And I love you to death, Coach, and I don't live far away from you now, and if you ever need me, I'm on 36 Dell Road, just come and knock on the door. I love you to death.
Wow, this is some powerful stuff. Powerful. Our final speaker of the evening, final player speaker, quarterback, 1980 graduate of 1987, won the first Iron Hills Conference championship for Dover since the 70s, back in 1986. Quarterback George Rettas.
All right, we're going in for the score here. Getting close to the end of the game, just the way I like it. So I want to talk a little bit about what it means to play Tardivi ball. You know, my brother and I have season giant tickets since I was born, and every time we go down there, we have discussions about what Tardivi ball is, and you know what we see and what we talk about, the latest and the greatest things that are always going around. I can tell you one of the things that I remember when I was playing is that you ever watch a timeout during a Dover game? You ever watch what's going on the field? The other teams out there, they got their helmets off, they're all spread out, they got some pretty girls out there giving them water, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, we're all in the huddle, we're sweating, we're huffing and puffing, and no one breaks the huddle, no one takes off the helmet, there is no pretty girls, there is no water, there's no nothing. All right, there's nothing but one guy that comes out on the field with us alone. All right, he comes out alone like a general walking through the smoke of battle. All right, he comes out there, he's not walking very fast because he doesn't have to move fast for anybody, right? So, but he comes out, he sits there, and all he does is he talks to us about how we're going to pound somebody's head through the dirt on the next play. And you know, you look at the other team, you look at the other guys, and you're looking over there, and I'm like, amazed. These guys are a bunch of pansies, man. I mean, look at these guys, we're going to get them. Even if we were losing the game, you would know at that point that you were more resilient than these guys, that you were taught to be more resilient than these guys, that you were taught to be tougher than these folks. You know, he kept us focused, man. We were emotional. We were an emotional team. I was a really emotional guy. I still am. And, you know, it was part of the game. I just figured that we wanted it more than the other guys. You know, even against teams that were physically bigger than us, bigger, stronger than us, faster than us, he just really got into our heads, man. Coach really got into our heads. We truly believed that we were going to win, that we were going to prevail in these games. You know, we were going to be the victor and not the victim. We were going to be the more resilient team. He was really adept at bringing us out in us. It was an inner passion for ourselves and for each other. And for the goal of accomplishing something that no one would ever be able to take away from us. In my estimation, his ability to incite this type of passion and invoke this type of emotion in us will really become the hallmark of his coaching style and his legacy. You know, in sports, if you look around, if you pay attention to, you know, the larger figures in sports and the NFL and things like that, you have coaches who define what a community of people are. You know, the Packers have Lombardi, and the Cowboys have Landry, and the Patriots have Belichick. But I can tell you that Dover has Tardivi. I believe history will remember Coach Tardivi simply as Dover's coach, a man who has become someone who defines our community, who we are, and who we strive to be. I got to tell you, you know, when I talk about Tardivi ball, one of my earliest memories, and you know, Ricky's here with us today. And Ricky Torres is one of my earliest memories of what I thought it would be to play Tardivi ball. This was a learning moment. This is a changing moment in my life. I think we were against West Morris, and I was on the sideline, and Ricky plays defensive end. And I know Ricky really well. I mean, in school, he's one of the nicest guys.